swallowed eyes, blue eyes,
Split lips.
lips, faces like that, really of the beatings. Some of the prisoners, they get like lost their teeth. So they took photos and they give us like now something like a bracelet, a green bracelet with these photos, IC numbers. Now they give me the number 441. This is your new ID. This is the new you now.
From that moment on, you were known as 441.
Yes, 441. Basically
For the next 14 years.
until now.
Until now.
So, like, because you have Mansoor and there is another guy called 441. And trust me, you don't want to talk like I don't want to activate this guy.
Yeah.
It's just a joke. So basically, I become just a number now. And a new world, a new, I don't know, maybe a new dimension of life, I would say that. So when we arrived at Guantanamo as prisoners, we had no shared life before that. We didn't know each other, no names, no nationalities, nothing. And why I'm telling you this? Because this is an important detail. So the first thing when I look at the people, the brothers, I call them, around me, I could see only those bruises in those faces, faces, swallow eyes, blue eyes, split lips, like some of them like broken teeth. And we weren't allowed to talk. We weren't allowed to stand. We weren't allowed to nothing. The guard just shouting at you. Shut up! Don't talk! Look down! Don't look at me! It was like, and, like as someone, I was trying to figure out what's going on there. So, and when I tried to sleep, someone came and he was banging on the fence, because the cages was rose chain link fences, literally cages, just
chain link
fences. Yes, like the cages were like cement. On each, there's like 4. They call them CTs. Each CTs has
CT like as an CT. Like,
no.
CT
it's like bigger blocks.
Oh, okay.
Each blocks has 6 big cages. Each cage divide into 10 cages.
Okay.
So they call them CT. CT1 has like 60 cage.
Okay.
So the big block have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and the floor cement, and there was only ceilings, doesn't shade you from water, rain or sun or anything.
So no ceilings.
There was ceilings, but
it was chain.
A chain.
Yeah. It was a fence. Ceiling. So
exactly, it's like a cage. Later on, they put some kind of wood, but because when we arrived, they were building they were still building the camp, basically Camp X-ray. It's the first camp. That Camp X-ray was basically before was Haitian. They use it to house Haitian refugees.
Okay.
Then they add extra blocks. So when I look at those men, I mean, like, so the guards used every 10 minutes would come bang on the fence and wake you up to reorganize the stuff that they give you. They call it like water bucket, shit bucket, sandals, soap, and you have to keep switch these. The first time I did
switching these,
like reorganize them. For example, you have the water bucket, shit bucket, and you have the soap. Then you have for example, the sandals.
Or the flip-flops.
Flip-flops, basically.
Okay.
Then they will tell you, no, start now with the flip-flops.
Oh, so they give you the way you have to organize those.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
okay.
every 30 minutes, you have to keep
Every half an hour.
every half an hour. They will ask you to keep reorganize them in a certain way. They have a paper, and they tell you do this, do this, do this. So the first time I did it, the second time I said no, I'm not doing it, because it didn't make sense, to me. Like, why I'm doing this? Why you wake me up? My brother
And this is during the night.
during the night. So my brother, like the Danish guy, like he was older than me, was like in his 30s. He said, Mansoor, please do it, or they beat you. I said, I don't care. The guard told me, I just went to sleep. 5 minutes, Earth team came again, immediate reaction force, and I got beating. So what I did, when they came the third time, I threw them away. I threw everything out. So when they came third time, they came and they put me in they shackled my hand and my leg behind me, and they left me this until morning. So I said, I swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will never do it. For me, it didn't make any sense. Also, the thing I have seen at the black side, compared to that's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, you get treated in the worst way. What they did now is nothing. Like, I'm not going to do it. So, and I wasn't like brave. I was like a tribe man who just stubborn, and just the way it is. Respect me, I respect you. Like, respect for respect, disrespect for disrespect. That's it. So that's kind of spark. At that time, I didn't know what. It was a spark of resistance. So the other brother did the same as I did. And they beat him really bad. He was like, they broke his head, bleeding. So my brother thought I was brave. I wasn't, because when someone put you in worse situation and put you in that, was nothing compared to that. So they kept that way, rotating, and, serving really little food. And now we started whispering to each other, people close to you. My neighbor was Danish, Afghani, Pakistani, Chad, Saudi Arabia, Turkish, Tajikistan, and I don't know how many countries. So we started asking each other about, what's your name? Where are you from? What's your story? And people are afraid to tell a story because we don't know each other. There is no trust here. So it's a new world. For me, everyone in orange suit, everyone is good. Everyone in the military suit, bad. I mean, this is how you visual, because those people hurt you. People have done unspoken things to you. This is now how you start judging people. And they kept bringing people. There was, at the same time, the army people were workers, American soldiers were building new blocks. And whenever there is a new people arrived, or a new detainees or prisoners arrive, it's like state emergency in the camp. Again, you cannot stand, you cannot talk, you cannot even move. You sit in the floor just like that. If you try to stand or to talk, it's like extreme force, beating always. We spent like that for almost like a month. And intense interrogation started.
That's when intense interrogation started.
Yeah, when you arrived first, you are going at the beginning, and the very first, there was no, the interrogation started later in Camp X-ray. But what they did later, when you arrive from the airplane, process station, immediately to the interrogation room. So interrogation was really intense. FBI, CIA, MI, military intelligence, Homeland Security, NSA, all kind of teams. And there was no any kind of coordination between those agencies. Different teams, different interrogators treat you differently. Some of them nice, some of them really bad. Some of them beat you, some of them... You spent all your day in the interrogation rooms. Again, questions about Osama bin Laden, about Mullah Muhammad Umar, about the dirty bomb, about the nuclear bomb, about the new attack, about sleeper cells, about all kind of bullshit. So my profile was this Adil. And every time I'm not that person. Okay, they changed the name, but they tell us about how you attack the Nairobi and Dar es Salaam in Africa. Tell us about the money laundering. And when you talk to them, everyone look at you as a well-trained hardened Al-Qaeda general. And everyone like, this is the guy we need. They had no names, no profiles, no photos of the men they had. What the CIA did, they bought these people and they just shipped them to Guantanamo, and they thought, the government, they said, we're going to send our best interrogators to sort these files. So now let us just pause here. Why Guantanamo was it chosen, that place? You know, everything wasn't just random. Everything was planned, and with consultation with the, like, especially Americans, like, as I told you, they were organized. They have consultation teams, wherever. So Guantanamo was a chosen place. When it said Guantanamo as a military prison, it's a military prison inside the military base. So
In Cuba.
in Cuba, it was created outside of the justice system, outside of our humanity, outside of any kind of law. American Constitution doesn't apply. Geneva Convention doesn't apply. Cuban law doesn't apply. Animal law doesn't apply. Devil's law doesn't apply. Nothing applied at Guantanamo. So when we arrived at Guantanamo, we didn't know where we were, and we tried to figure out the first time, like, where should I pray? Because when we pray as Muslims, we face Mecca.
Yes, of course, east.
Yes, basically. At that place, like,
You have no idea where east is.
like, you have no idea, nothing. You feel like there is only hills. At the same time, you cannot see the sky, the stars, nothing, because bright lights. And we start debating from the very first moment. Someone said we are in Bahrain. Some said in Oman. Some in Oman. Someone read in the, like, there was, like, the vibes for the cages made in India. They said we are in India.
Oh, so the wires in the cages, they said made in India. Okay.
So basically, and like,
you had no idea where
we
you are.
had no idea. So when we pray, some of us prayed that direction, some of that direction, like, because now you have to use your best way to figure out how to where to pray. So
But the sun direction, you haven't seen the sun?
I mean, this is one of the things, like, you cannot determine the direction by the sun too.
Okay.
So basically, like, some of them, okay, because you can see between the east and west where you pray. But again, it depends on your location where because, for example, in the north, in the south, where are you? The location that can determine the sun movement.
Okay, okay.
So we spent that way just because it was, as I told you, a classified place, prison. Nobody knows about it. We spent that 3 months until a new group, and then until they moved us into a new camp called Camp Delta. They built a new camp made of shipping containers.
Okay, yeah.
So they built this prison. Before we jump to that, this is how we figure when Guantanamo, when a new group arrived, these men were when we brought to Guantanamo, they were free. Then they got arrested. Then they said, guys, you're in a place called Guantanamo in Cuba. Okay, well, Cuba, huh? So when we told the first time we told the interrogators and the guards we were in Cuba, who told you? Like, they were like, it is like something big. So basically, when I remember one of the brother went to the interrogators and he told them, we are in Cuba. We are in Guantanamo, exactly, in your Navy base. And that's something big to tell to your interrogators. Like, how do you know that? The guard were called for interrogations. Like, when the guard, because they have meetings, like they have like before they come to work in the camp and after they leave, who told the prisoners, who told the prison they were in Cuba? And that lasted for weeks until we told them, like the menu brought from, again, the new groups. I am from Yemen. I was raised in a tribal society and conservative family. So when I finished my ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
This is school we have in our village, only to ninth grade.
Only to ninth grade.
Yeah, so basically I live in the mountain, like in the highest mountain in Yemen.
Yeah.
And we live like in a tribal society where people go with the tradition and like still like in our blood. And as my father was one of my grandmother was one of the head of the tribe, our families raised us in a way to be like the face of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And tribes live with integrity and courage and hospitality, and like you have to show that you are there, like since you are a kid.
Yeah.
So my world was only the small tribe. I started going to school with my sisters and brothers and neighbors.
Yeah, you have how many siblings?
Oh, I have like we were 12, now we are 10.
Okay, the
So-
12 siblings.
Yeah, I mean, this is average in Yemen.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
So basically, when I finished studied ninth grade, we didn't have high school in our place, in our area, because its schooling system wasn't that developed in those areas. And I had to go live with my aunt in the city, and I traveled to the capital, Sana'a, the capital of Yemen. And it is like just moving from one world to another, which
Yeah.
is like, you see the lights, the cars, the buildings, the people, electricity.
Yeah, this is the thing that struck me the most. Basically, when you were growing up in the village in the mountains, in which part of Yemen?
It is Raima.
Raima.
It's called Raima, yeah. Like we actually like have our own farms, cattle,
And what's
sheep.
the altitude if you're in the mountains?
I don't know, like it's almost 2,000 something.
2000 something.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. And you basically grew up without electricity. That's interesting.
We have no electricity, nothing basically, and nothing like.
So how?
Even the first time, the first time I saw a car when I went with my father to a market,
Uh-huh.
like the car was coming. I never like saw car in my life. So basically, when I saw the car the first time, it's like a beast. So I started.
How old were you?
Like I don't remember. I was like so young. I started like a big rack and throw it at the car, and everyone tried to stop me. Like this is the beast. Like
Yeah.
so my father like is like, just calm down. This is a car. I was like, okay. I said like people inside it like. So then they're like it was one of the like moments I still remember. I laugh. So yeah, it's like small and very limited world and
Yeah.
community basically. But like as like my mother really is the one who raised me, like played the role raising us, because my father travel or something, like he has worked in Saudi Arabia or like had a restaurant, or so my mother actually who is taking care of everything. And yeah, love her so much.
Well, you haven't actually, because I've been reading the book, so I know you haven't been able to spend a lot of time with your father, because every time your father had to work, he had to go away.
Yeah.
Because he had a shop in the different city.
Yeah, he has a restaurant yet.
He had a
Like,
restaurant.
he has
yeah.
a restaurant, and like as you know, like many Yemenis work in neighbor countries, and you know
Neighboring countries.
neighbor
Okay,
countries.
yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, like one of the things we as Yemen like suffer from leadership crisis.
Okay.
And we haven't developed yet as a country in every aspect. Through the like, I'm now doing my master degree in reforming Yemen education system, and I came to know more about the history and like our history. Like it's just a big mess. And now, as you know, like we have the last 8 years war in Yemen, civil war, and our neighbor countries also invaded our country, like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and other countries, and they're like Arab coalition. The truth is, my friend, we are a very rich country, and that turned to be a curse.
Yeah.
And if you do not have a leadership who really preserve the country, you will become just a prey for others.
Yeah.
And that what happened now in Yemen.
Okay. And growing up in the village, you spent a lot of time actually with your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
And with your siblings, right? But how many sisters? How many brothers?
I have 3 brothers, 8 sisters. We
8 sisters.
Yes.
Yes.
So we like large family. Then like I told you, when I finished my 9th grade, we didn't have like high school in our countries, in our area. So I have to move to my aunt to finish my older brother did the same. So then when I arrived in Sana'a, the capital, it was like a new world. And I was when I was behaving in the way I was raised, you know.
Yeah.
I thought like
a mountain kid.
Like a mountain kid. Also, like it's not
Highlander. You were a Highlander.
Yes, and also not just like that. It's like you have to tribal characters.
Okay, yeah.
Which like you have to show yourself. You have to respect others, treat people equally.
Yeah.
And regardless their age, but
tribal character and tribal mentality.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And you have to like also, we have a lot of respect for elder people, and like so when I was behaving in the city, it's like it's a different world basically. I was like curious about everything, about the boards, about the writing. Well, I need to read every sign there, and like the building. So we at that time, like we had a tall building, like 25 floors.
Yeah.
And it was made of glass. It was belonging to the Yemeni airline. And I just went there straight. Like they end up calling the police because I refused to leave. So when the police took me, he said, and he was a nice guy. Like, yeah. And I said, Mansoor, what are you doing here? What's your name? I said, where are you coming from? I said, from this place. Your tribe. I said, this is my tribe. He said, Mansoor, this is different. How long have you been here? I said, okay, maybe 2 days. He said, no, it's not like that. You are not in your tribe. This is a city. There is rule. There is police. And the first time I came to know like something called police.
Okay.
Oh,
you never heard of police before?
No, we didn't have tribal society. We have like the head of the tribe, and they manage everything if there's like problems.
It's a completely different world.
I told you, completely different world. And sometimes when you like dispute, different shuyukh or the head of tribes would come and like with the set, and like you can see people talk how they solve the problems, and like in an old-fashioned way.
Okay.
So like I can see people in uniform. Okay, this is something new. He said, like, this is city. He was a very polite guy. He also like me. Like all Yemenis, almost like each of us have like their own tribe, like belong to a tribe. So then when I finished my high school there, and during that time, I started like also tried to work. I helped my uncle with. Sometimes he had like small shop selling grocery basically.
Okay. Grocery shop.
Grocery shop. What's like when people come to buy something, when like. When people like, especially when they come to buy bread, I would give them extra. Like, it doesn't work that way, my son. I said, well, people like, especially vegetables. I said, like, they need like. He said, you are not in your tribe. It's not generosity. This is business.
Okay, yeah. So you were not familiar with the business mentality, also.
Basically, yes. Basically, like when people buy like special vegetables, I would give them extra, little extra. You know, just my uncle would say,
no, it doesn't work like that.
It's like you're like you don't fit here.
Okay.
Like especially like an old lady, when she comes, I feel I'm not gonna take any money from her. And she loves me so much.
How can I take money from her?
Yeah, because she is so sweet. And when she comes, my son Howard is like, because usually so like the old ladies come, and when she comes around, like I would give her for free. And when I left, she asked about me. She asked my uncle like, where is that boy? He's like, he was giving me for free. And he said, well, he's not coming anymore.
He's not working here anymore.
Because I felt like really shy to take money from her.
Okay.
Because like she's like grandmother. I'm like, we are going to give him some potato or some like whatever. Like, I'm not gonna take money from her.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I thought my uncle wouldn't find out, but he did.
How old were you at the time?
I think I was 14 at that time.
14 years old.
14, 15.
So basically you had a dream to go to study.
I know, like, I came to learn more about in the city. I also have, like, I know people there, and I start learning about the first time about computers. Like, we had, like, a magazine called Sakhr, like, crack. Like, and there is a photo of the computer. And I start reading about it. Interesting. Then, when I finished, like, my high school, the first time they started some kind, it's so like a big deal. They started computer courses there.
Okay.
You can register, and I said, yeah, that what I want to study. Let you know, like technology hasn't at that time integrated in our education system.
Yeah, okay,
So it was really, really old.
Basically, just to let people know, you and I were the same age. You're born 1982.
No, my friend.
Huh?
No, I am 20 years old. You're 40 years old. Because the year I count in jail, I didn't count those years.
Oh, okay.
So
okay,
basically,
okay.
Here,
I understand.
Let me tell you one thing. Why I'm saying that? Because in jail, physically, we grow up. Physically, we grow up, but mentally and intellectually, we didn't move at all. So when I come out from Guantanamo, I feel like I was like 19, 20. Even now, my mentality, my way behavior is like childish, a little sense of humor. But again, because there is a huge gap in our life, like 15 years or 20 years, especially like even after Guantanamo, living in almost like isolated, there is no family, no social life around you. So you didn't actually fully develop as it should. So basically, you can like physically, yes, I'm maybe, but mentally I'm not there. So I'm telling people always like, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm now 40 years old.
You have lost 16 years of your life. Basically.
Yeah. So we were talking about the education. So I wanted to study that I'm like about, I want to study IT. So
okay.
we had only one private university, which is called جامعة العلوم والتكنولوجيا, or the College of Computer and Science, which is very expensive at that time. And but in 1999, the first time we had internet, and I never used internet even before Guantanamo.
You never used the internet before Guantanamo?
No, never, because I didn't. I took like 2 courses in computer, like those, like started like all courses, those, and I couldn't afford to continue because it was also expensive at that time. And I worked at by 2000, I worked as a security guard. I used to work in German embassy, in Dutch embassy. Then during my study in Sana'a, I work also one of an institute, like. So this is how, from that institute, is how I ended up like traveling and doing like research. I was like a researcher assistant, basically.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't research myself. Like I was that guy who carried the bag, do things, and like.
You were just an assistant.
Yeah. Basically, when I studied in Sana'a, also I used to help in. I study part-time in the institute sometimes, like study there and sleep there, eat there. And I used to help with like there was like around at that time over 200 foreign students from different parts of the world.
Okay.
So I used to like helping them with their like residency, visas, passport issues, with their stuff. And that gives me a chance to know like people from different parts of the world. And like, okay, there is a world out there. But one of the things about our countries, Arab Peninsula was isolated during the Turkish ruling because when the Turkish, they totally isolated the area, especially when the world was witnessing like the industrial revolution. The countries hasn't actually included.
Okay. So during the Turkish rule, they isolated the Arabian Peninsula. So when Industrial Revolution came, you haven't been the part of it.
Yes, basically.
So the Industrial Revolution hasn't come to that part of the world yet.
Yeah, until like if the mentality continued that way, then like especially Yemen.
Okay.
Like when Yemen because we were also under the Uthmani rule. So after World War I, Yemen became like independent, but at the same time we went into like a monarchy system, was totally ignorant. Intentionally, education was forbidden only for the elites of the people.
Okay,
in society.
so you went from World War I, from independence straight to monarchy.
Yeah, also the monarchy was also cursed, which is. Until the 1962, we had a revolution. So then after that, because as a tribal society, it's really hard to unite those tribes and to control them, because there was like president elections, or first one get killed, then the second one gets assassinated, the other one. Then in the 19, I think we had the schooling system in our countries, the first college and education system started in the 1970s.
Wow.
Even the
first school system.
Yeah, and it was before, but like some people tried before to have it, but they were in prison and some of them killed by the monarchy. Then the first university was built in Yemen in 1970. It called Sana'a University. It was a donation from Kuwait. I think in 1970s we had the first president who ran Yemen from until like 2011, and he was also just another tyrant because also the mentality of the ruler, like they don't have any kind of mission or vision. Their main focus how to control the people, and they view the people as the enemy, like so. That contributed to there wasn't really much development in any way. And let you know, Yemen, one of the richest country in the world. No exaggeration. We had the coastline 2,000 kilometers. We had like the Red Sea and the Arab Sea, and we had the reports that we had 9 billion oil barrel, and we have the second largest reserve of gas. So you name it. You like talk about tourism. You talk about we actually the strategic location to Bab al-Mandab, which like almost like 40% of the importing oil comes through Bab al-Mandab. But that turned to be a curse. Why?
Because everybody wanted it.
Everybody. Also, if you have a fortune, you don't have to guard it, how to use it. People, it become like a target for everyone. And in our countries, in Yemen especially, we didn't have like those kind of rulers who really want to build a country and develop the country in such a way. Because when I told you Sana'a University was a donation from Kuwait, when you look at hospitals, roads, most of the infrastructure of Yemen donation from international communities or countries and so on. So the mentality of the ruler those rulers was, we are a poor country, we need donation, and and that continued that way. So and they lied to the people, we are a poor country, we are not poor country, So this is one of the reasons of our countries haven't been developed. So now I'm doing my research about like education system was like. It breaks my heart every time I read about the education system and the failure of our countries. So I hope I can do something with this research because this is the least I can do. And I believe that education is the key to everything.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Build the person, the family, the community, the country, and the world. The healthy education,
Yeah.
quality and healthy education.